Jennifer Strickland is with us today. She was a model for many years. She was a part of the world-famous Ford modeling agency. She did her first television commercial when she was 15. She's done commercials for Oil of Olay, Mercedes, Benz, Converse tennis shoes, Cherry Coke, on and on and on. But I hasten to add, she's not just a pretty face because she has an earned master's degree and has taught college-level composition. I don't even know what composition is. Somebody needs to teach me. She's written a book entitled Girl Perfect, and as you would know, it's pink. Yeah. I probably should just turn this over to Joni. I don't know anything about any of this except what I have learned on America's Next Top Model. Please join Joni and me as we welcome to Celebration Jennifer Strickland. Jennifer, God bless you.
Thank you.
And I've already asked Jennifer how tall she is, and she's only a little bit taller than me. And she is 6 feet tall. Yeah. Jennifer, what you see on the magazine covers and on television, it's not what you see, it's what you get, really, is it?
Not at all.
Tell us about that.
It's a perfect illusion, is what it is. The media is incredible at making an illusion for women and girls all over the world, really, that the lives of the models that you see in the magazines is ideal as it looks from the outside. And the truth is it's not. And that's why I wrote the book, is to shatter that perfect illusion.
All right, I want you to tell us about some of those things, but you got started, I mean, you were just 8 years old. Yes. You started doing little fashion shows, I guess, locally, etc.
Yeah, standing like a mannequin in store windows and posing for the camera and walking up and down the runway as a young girl.
So you don't look like you ever had any weight problems or anything, but almost every girl I've ever heard about, Joni tells me this, every female thinks I need to lose at least 10 pounds.
Yes.
So that's part of the pressure.
That's part of the illusion, like what
that
you're
society
talking about.
places on females, isn't it?
It is. At 17, when I signed with an international modeling agency, that was the first thing I was told, is that I needed to lose 10 pounds. And my dad's jaw just dropped. He just couldn't, he thought, where? Where is she going to lose this? And immediately the pressure was on me to be underweight, to be at an unhealthy weight. So.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It's not even healthy then, isn't it?
No, and eventually that caught up with me. And I did eventually struggle with anorexia when I was in the runway, because thin was never thin enough. And in one country, you know, maybe Germany, you could be a little bit bigger, but in Milan you had to be smaller, in New York you had to be different. You just could never quite measure up with that standard of perfection that they put on you.
Honey, Rebecca would love to be here listening to Jennifer.
You would. So tell us a little bit about your entrance into the modeling industry, if you would, Jennifer.
I think my mom was just trying to get me some poise. She knew that I was going to be tall. I wasn't very coordinated, and there was a little Cinderella class going on at a local modeling school, and she enrolled me. And I began getting taller and taller, and it seemed like a little world where I could fit, where I could shine. I wasn't very athletic, and I enjoyed it, to tell you the truth. It was my own little world, and it was innocent in the beginning.
And so in the beginning it was, but eventually, as you got immersed into that lifestyle, what happened? Tell us about your world.
Well, at 17, I signed with the Nina Blanchard agency, and they sent me off to Europe. And that's basically what they do with young girls in America that want to be models. They send them to Europe right away. It's kind of like throwing a girl out into a sea of sharks just to kind of see if she can swim. So,
wow.
Yeah, and so I was thrown into the sea of sharks. And I did well, and in the beginning it was all right, but eventually the drug use in the modeling industry, the men in the modeling industry, a lot of the older men were often manipulative with the young girls, and we were all young and from far parts of the world, living together and looking for acceptance like any other girl. So it was a challenging world for me to be in at such a young age.
So are many of the models just like commodities? They're not even viewed like people, they're like an asset?
Absolutely. You're a thing. The French word for model is les mannequins. And as soon as I learned that, and I was 18 years old living in Paris and modeling, I realized, okay, I am a mannequin. And when they're done with me, they're going to ship me off and order a new one. And that's kind of exactly how I felt in the modeling industry. You're a thing. And if you're perfect and you look perfect that day, you're going to be acceptable and loved and adored. But if you're not, they can just cast you aside because there's always another pretty young face coming to town that they can turn their attention to.
So now, what was the crescendo of your career? Like where you were at your height? What age were you and where were you and what was happening?
Well, I stayed in school. That was the best thing I ever did. And I worked in Los Angeles, and after graduating college, they sent me to Milan to do the runway. And the whole plan was I was going to go to Milan. I'd signed with Ford Models of New York, and I was going to make it big over there and be in all the magazines and then come back and make the big money. So